What's going on, guys? My name's Jake.
And I'm Josh.
And we're here today with a leg day video. So we're going to take you through our full leg session here at Ultraflex Rotherham. And then after, we'll probably jump into our post-workout routines and kind of what we individually do after training to make sure that we're recovering and ready for the next session.
Yeah. It's like doing a hack squat. Jake has to lower the thing because he's really tall. Nice.
Right, so first exercise, we always start off with calves. It's only like 2 or 3 working sets. So we build up 1 to 2 warm-up sets, like with most things. Start off by doing obviously the standing calf raise. I prefer this machine because you can kind of get a really good stretch with the quads, so you can go through the full range of motion. Whereas with a lot of seated machines, you're almost a bit kind of locked in and kind of limited on the range of motion that you can go through. But with the standing one, obviously, you know, it's completely under your control. So as you'll see throughout the whole exercise, take it nice and slow. Make sure they're going in both the, you know, the fully lengthened and fully shortened range. I personally prefer to almost hold it for a slight second in both of those ranges, so when the calf's fully extended, and then when it's fully contracted, try and squeeze at both ends. Lifesaver. So the problem with this one is that once you're done with your set and you've got so much blood in your adductors, it's hard to actually get out of it without tearing yourself in half.
The thing is with the adductor that this is the only movement that's going to really show on stage. It's the only one that matters. I've gone 2 all in on that first set. Fuck me. I blew my load early. I went all in on that first set.
Right, so obviously moving on from calves, the first proper leg exercise is going to be the adductor machine. Again, we do 2 working sets on this. We'll build up to it, which is really important for the adductor. Although this machine is not going to build you a massive pair of legs, it's good to begin with just to get the adductor in shortened range, especially this machine here. It gets really heavy as you contract your adductors, as you squeeze your legs together. So it's nice to be able to actually load up your adductors once they're shortened, because there's very few exercises which allow you to do that really. Obviously you can work your adductors during squats or any sort of lunging movement, but generally speaking they load up when they're stretched out. So yeah, it's good to start off with this.
Yeah, right, so next up, after doing the adductor, we've got leg extension. We're using a prime leg extension, so again, on the 3 arms, you can load it up at different points. We'll put the bulk of the weight on loading point 1, which is the middle range of the movement, and then we'll just kind of put 5s and 10 plates on the 3 and the 2, depending on where we want it to be tougher. So we'll probably go onto the 2 first, and then we'll just put a little bits onto the 3rd loading point as the sets go on. We'll probably do about 4 sets. Not quite a working set, probably 80% max work rate. We're priming ourselves ready for his next movement.
And you'll see that me and Josh both kind of move things around a little bit. So ideally what you want on any sort of isolation movement, especially when it's to do with your knee joint or your elbow, is to line up with this kind of pivot point here. So you want your knee in line with here, which is just essentially, with any machine, it almost mimics the movement of the joint that you're kind of using. So with a leg extension, line your knee up with here, and then obviously you want to create as much stability as possible, hence why you want the seat kind of firmly against your back. You want to pull yourself down into the seat and obviously create as much stability. Like the more stability you create, the kind of more force you can generate. And likewise with this point here, lining it up with your knee, just going to allow you to put less stress on the joint. So for leg extensions, what I'm doing at the minute is doing a rest pause set. So essentially rest pause sets are 20 rep sets. So the high rep sets that are broken up into smaller segments essentially allows you to do more over the set. So if you're going to do 20 reps all at once, you're generally speaking, if you're someone who's especially coming off from like an off season, you're probably fatigued due to your cardiovascular kind of fitness rather than obviously muscular failure. So when you do kind of fatigue or when you do fail, it is down to the muscles failing, not your cardiovascular fitness. Nice.
So in lockdown, Jake, we're bringing his bands round to my house like literally every day. He earned himself the nickname Jake the Band Brailey. And as you can see, I'm nowhere near it whilst he's setting it up. He's very, very particular about his bands. He doesn't want to, you know, don't want me to ruin his little fun.
So they probably already mentioned this slightly or take the piss out of it, but bands on the machine, and we also got the blocks up here as well. Essentially what the blocks do, or you can use a foam roller, just reposition your body. So essentially it's similar to on like a leg press where you can incline the seat. Obviously on a hack squat you can't do that. So we can use these, just realign our body to kind of put it at the right angle for our own kind of our own bodies. When it comes to the bands, essentially what this does is change the resistance profile, the strength curve of the machine to match that of our bodies. So as you can see with bands, obviously the more the bands stretch, the more load they essentially put on the hack squat. So if you were to reverse band it, where you tie it around the back and over the top, what that's going to do is it's going to make it lighter and easier as you get down to the bottom. Whereas with these, when you tie it from the bottom to the top, when they stretch, it's essentially going to make it harder. So when you extend your legs, contract your quads, it's essentially going to add more load on. There was a few sessions where we like suck in.
Come on. Go. Come on, Jake. All day. Come on. Got more. Jake hack squat 7 plates aside with 2 bands. You're going to watch me do 4.5. Really showing my men's physique style now. 4 shots, baby! One more. Fuck me. Fucking hell. Yeah, so once we've done the hack squat, this is like where man and Jake's sessions kind of like, we go our separate ways. So Jake will go on to do a leg press, and then I think he might do another leg extension, whereas I'm going to do a hamstring curl and just a leg extension. One like all-in set on each. And the reason behind that is, if I do another like big pressing movement, it's going to take it away from like the deadlift session that we've got later on in the week. I simply can't recover. Yeah, it's like the risk reward, like it's just not worth it. I'm doing men's physique at the end of the day. You don't need a great big set of legs, whereas like Jake with bodybuilding, you do. So yeah, that's where we're at.
Right, I'm a fucking mess, but we just finished up the main part of our leg session. So obviously we do hack squat first. I go on to a single leg press, which has only been added in the last like week or so. For me, like I would much prefer doing a single leg like press on one of those machines as opposed to like a normal leg press, just because of the movement of it as well. As you see, like again, we use bands. I use kind of like a block just to kind of change the kind of like elevation of the seat, just to make the machine fit me, as opposed to trying to force myself to fit the machine. Yes, it's like a small thing, but when you look at like the fact that you're doing the exercise over and over again with like a lot of load trying to progress it, it does put a lot of stress on your joints, and it's also going to allow you to, you know, work the muscle a lot harder as well. Oh, fucking dead.
Right, go on then.
Okay, so just finished up the leg session, as you've seen. Obviously, I hope you enjoyed it. As I said, probably a little bit more of a serious one on my part today. It's hard to joke around when you're doing legs. But yeah, obviously, I think Josh is going to take you through his post-workout routine now.
Yes.
And I'm going to go back and eat in that.
Yeah, so without further ado, let's take it back to Casa del Crog.
Impart knowledge on me, sir.
So what we're going to go through here is how to make anabolic Cocoa Pops. It's as good as it sounds. The Cocoa Pops themselves, the bowl full of fun. Okay, so we're going to go for 100 grams of Cocoa Pops.
Why 100 grams, Josh?
Oh no, I've got 106. And then we're going to go for 2 scoops of impact whey. So that's going to be about 45 grams of protein with minimal fat. Bam.
Why do you have minimal fat post-workout, Josh?
Whoa, Ed. We're not going minimal fat, we're just getting fat from the right sources. Skippy's peanut butter. So we get 30 grams of this, and then I think that's about 8 grams of fat. I can't remember. It's on my plan, but you know, off the top of my head, it's just not there. Yeah, so we're going to use the protein shakers, the milk, and then you're going to pour it on top of the Cocoa Pops. That is how you make, you know, cereal, and then whack some peanut butter on top. You've got to get the water ratio right, because if you end up with like really soggy Cocoa Pops, not a good time. Not a good time. Right, I'm going to smash this out, and then we shall go on to phase 2 of the post-workout routine.
Phase 2.
Right, so phase 2 of the post-workout routine, I take myself off on a nice little walk. So it's just like one route of my local area. It's about 4,000 or 5,000 steps, nothing crazy. And then yeah, just text my clients, send voice notes, all that kind of jazz. and then we go back home for phase 3, my favourite.
Phase 3.
Phase 3 of the post-workout routine. A little bit controversial, but you know, we're keeping it real. I'm showing you everything that happens. So this is my lovely bed, and I'm going to just hop in here and have what I call a nappuccino. It's actually a thing. It's like a studied thing. So what you do, you have a shot of espresso, and then you just hop in bed, and then 20 minutes later the caffeine kicks in, and then you just naturally wake up, and you feel amazing. Then you're ready to go. So after I've had my little nappuccino, I will then just continue with my evening. Generally speaking, I'll have 4 clients in an evening. I'll finish at 9 o'clock, and then that'll be it, bedtime.
And what do you do at bedtime?
I've got my Xbox for 5 hours. Right then guys, so that is the end of the video, the end of our leg session, and the end of my post-workout routine. Next week we are going to do, I think it's a deadlift session, and then we'll follow Jake's routine after training, which I'm sure will be amazing. I can't wait to find out. Like and subscribe.